All those.
Last time sign, motion same sign. AJ, you wanted to speak a little bit? before we
Yeah,
get started?
Just one thing before we get started that I want to say personally, this is 100% me, that's it. I did receive some emails, 8 emails this week in support of it. 2 emails, this week not supporting the agreement, 2 phone calls, that's where we're at. I am going to be a dissenting no vote against this until one of the 33 landowners has a turbine within 1,500 feet of their house. Until then, I'm a no, I'm 100% no, I don't wanna hear it. I'm tired of it. That's how I feel, I'm not even gonna sit through the rest of this meeting. If one of the landowners with these 33 landowners, however many there are, want them within 1,500 feet of their house, I'll sign the thing tomorrow, build them. Until then, I'm out.
Thanks, AJ. See you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right,
Thank It's the same time.
try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. We've got several people.
3 minutes.
Yep, 3 minutes. There's no sharing of time or yielding of time. So we will start out with Carson Okelman. I apologize if I murder your name.
Yeah, I'm Carson Folkman. I'm a technician, for Energy. I work on the towers. I just came to speak about, the pros of the jobs once the towers are up, and there's some other stuff going on there with that, but, for a small town, kid that grew up in a small town, I'm still young. I've been, working on them and with Energy for 3.5 years. But had I not got into the wind industry, I probably would have left the small town and left the county that I grew up in, to a place that had more opportunity. But the wind industry has a lot of opportunity, in renewable industry in general. For jobs, it's a great industry. You can go, get a start and stay close to home. I know we have a lot of guys that I work right alongside with that, do own farms and live on farms and work on the towers that are right there on their farms. But, yeah, I just like the opportunity that, Invenergy as a company and, the renewable industry, gives us to stay at home, and make good money. Thank you.
I could figure that out.
Figure out how to reset it.
Okay.
Jeff, you'll be horrible. You'll be up next, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
I think you're the second name on the list here, it looks like, right?
Oh, well, I was on the second page, but
Oh, that's okay. We flipped pages
Yeah,
there.
that's
So,
okay.
yep.
I can speak now.
Okay, go ahead.
So my comments are specific to the agreement that is in question. And because of 3 minutes, I'm gonna go through it pretty quick. I do have it in writing that I'll pass to the supervisors. The agreement provides exemption to worthwhile wind from all current and future regulations regarding land use in the county for the next 50 years and grants them additional rights and authorities for projects that were not previously associated with a worthwhile wind project. And all my comments in the written notes have references. I believe this to be contrary to Iowa Law 335.3, which grants the authority to counties to regulate land use by via ordinance. That law does not provide authority to do so via separate agreement with private parties. The manner of the passage of land use ordinance is prescribed by section 335, and this agreement bypasses that process. Iowa law also provides the means for exemptions and variances to the land use ordinances to be considered and decided by the County Board of Adjustment, not the supervisors. In fact, the supervisors don't even have authority to overrule the Board of Adjustment. Only the courts can do that per section 335 of Iowa law. Therefore, an agreement granting these exemptions should not be considered as is contrary to code section 335. Further, any exemptions that would be issued should only be for as long as required for the project to be put into operation. There is no valid reason for a 50-year exemption from everything. This agreement grants exemption to 2 unrelated solar projects from all regulations in the county for a period of 50 years. The introduction of the agreement says that the agreement is necessary to resolve the current litigation that is under appeal at the Iowa Supreme Court. Those 2 solar projects included in section 7 have no standing or bearing in that litigation and therefore should not be included in the agreement. Section 20 essentially says that even if a court finds a provision of this agreement to be contrary to public policy or unenforceable, it won't matter because the agreement says that any replacement language must be written to be consistent with the intent of the clause that was found invalid. In other words, it's going to accomplish the same thing, just using different words. That clause should be stricken. There's two probable motivations that Invenergy might have to press for this type of agreement with these terms that come to my mind. One is because of fear of losing the appeal because of the gross legal errors of the original ruling. Secondly, because the appeal will provide clarity to certain vague aspects of the doctrine of vested rights, especially related to significant expenditures. We should remember that Invenergy has consistently used the claim of vested rights and threat of litigation as a means of getting their way in multiple counties.
Time, Jeff.
The vagary, I got one sentence to finish.
Right.
The vagary of the law is to their benefit. To have this case heard by the Iowa Supreme Court and that court adding clarity regardless of the outcome would damper their ability to continue these tactics and continue to overrun counties. This appeal deserves to be heard and decided before any discussion with Invenergy on road drainage or development terms. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan Reese.
Estimator and industrial engineer procurement constructed estimate. Engineering, regarding Invenergy's big ass proposed settlement. Items A and B are Invenergy's reasons why they have Worth County in court. Item C of the big ask starts with an oxymoron and falls with a false statement of fact. The parties agree that worthwhile wind is in the public interest. That statement renders everything to follow unacceptable. Invenergy's development transfer moniker as a law avoidance, racketeering, and IRS fraud scheme. Invenergy, Worth County Outside Counsel Eric Updegraff, and the Northwood Acre have never mentioned the reasons for the moratorium and wind ordinance during the trial case. Note, Eric Updegraff has finally touched on the reasons in his appeal case response, but only enough to still allow a harmless error decision in the appeal. This negligence allowed the trial case judge to state the in bad faith decision for implementing the moratorium and wind ordinance. The heart of the matter is best described in the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, statute of frauds. Freeborn County judge describes the UCC as the law. Warranties of affirmation, workability, and fitness for a particular purpose were all broken during the sales portion of the project development. Business law professor Elmore, speaking of the statute of frauds, it's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I don't trust you. Get it in writing. Item 3 of Invenergy's contract with Freeborn County for the Minnesota side of the Deer Creek Worth County project, as required by the statute of frauds in the IRS production tax credit states. This contract vests the project. It's in writing. That contract coincides with the IRS production tax credit form 8835 that is to be completed and approved prior to any tax credit awards. Subpoenaed the IRS production tax credit form 8835 for the Worth County Deer Creek project, showing turbine locations to ascertain whether the 6 turbine locations Supervisor AJ Stone asked in the videotaped pre-moratorium and pre-ordinance public hearings that were changed from 2,000-foot setbacks as promised by Invenergy to 1,000-foot or less setbacks during the 11th hour just prior to construction, or were always located with disregard to non-participating landowners. Let's get the facts and let the courts decide. Thanks. Anyone have a quick question?
There's no questions.
No.
Sir. Yeah. All right, Darren Clement.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, bro. I'm Dylan Gramler.
What?
Sorry, I'm
Are you
Dylan
Darren
Gramler.
Clement?
I'm sorry.
Are you Darren Clement?
Oh, sorry, I didn't
Looking
hear
for
you.
Darren Clement.
Yeah, right here.
Okay,
Right here.
go ahead. Sorry.
Section 5 provides that Worthwhile Wind will provide an option for non-participating residents to sign a good neighbor agreement. This standard agreement is on Invenergy's terms and raises the serious question of what value it provides to those residents when their standard agreement does not allow for negotiation. The residences
in fact, will have no negotiation standing. It's purely a paper exercise of little real value. Section 14 is a superfluous section as the very next clause. 14 grants exemption to worthwhile wind of the obligation state in 14. They should not be granted the exemption in 14 and should be required to abide by 14.
Thank you. Matt Helgeson.
Name is Matt Helgeson, resident living close to the Winnebago-Worth County line. My family is impacted by this project. Sound is one of the primary complaints of neighbors living close to turbines. When this project was proposed, I became active in eliciting information from industry experts, literature, and property owners subjected to sound from turbines. It quickly became apparent to me that appropriate sound standards have not been set for very many completed projects. I became active in sharing information and making recommendations to Winnebago and Worth County supervisors, zoning administrators, chairpersons, and zoning boards, and the County Board of Health right here in this county. This was information that would require developers to be good acoustic neighbors. Sufficient standards were set in the county ordinance that was adopted in 2022. This development deal sets a standard and sound limit of 48 dBA. This limit is much higher than that of the ordinance and lacks specificity. After seeing this, I reached out to Rob Rand, who had previously provided commentary on the limits that are defined in the current ordinance. Rob has decades of experience as an acoustician. He assesses industrial and commercial noise in many industries, including energy. He measures their impacts, provides recommendations to workers and the public. I shared with him the development deal and asked him to compare them to the sound limit set in the ordinance and for his assessment. I will read his comment. The wording proposed by the developer is excessive for comfortable sleep. It lacks specificity of measurement metrics, durations, and standards to be followed. It breaches ANSI standard for land use compatibility. By using only A weighting and the 48 dBA limit, it is a generous limit for the developer. The proposed wording omits protections against low frequency noise, which easily penetrates homes when people are trying to sleep and is a primary complaint by affected neighbors. Whereas the ordinance wording is clear, specific, and consistent with ANSI standards for compatibility with quiet rural residential land use. The standards in the ordinance provides protections against excessive low frequency and intrusive noise. The developer is responsible for noise control to be a good acoustic neighbor. That means at a minimum, they're assured no sleep disturbance and operating to be compatible with existing residential, rural residential land use. These are Rob's comments, which indicate the standards set in the development deal are inadequate and not compatible. Rob may be available for further consultation upon your request should you desire to adopt some appropriate standards for the agreement. The sound standards in the ordinance were supported by the zoning board, the county board of health, the board of supervisors, and overwhelmingly supported by the residential property owners. One sentence, I support the sound regulations established in the ordinance and do not support the development deal for its lack of adequate regulation to protect the residents.
Thank you. Isaac. I'll state your full name, but
Yes. Just got a petition here and then some letters from some supporters. Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Isaac Lampa. I'm the project manager for Invenergy's Worthwhile Wind Project. On behalf of more than 150 landowners who have voluntarily signed easements and the many others who want to see this project move forward for the jobs and the tax revenue it will create, I want to thank the board for your efforts thus far in working toward a settlement. We believe the agreement represents a meaningful compromise and we support its adoption. As a reminder, Worth County and Worthwhile spent a significant amount of time several years ago negotiating a development agreement, which included a proposed rule book for siting wind in the county. But before an agreement could be reached, the county enacted a moratorium followed by restrictive zoning, under which Worthwhile did not believe it could reasonably move forward. This became the subject of a legal dispute, between our parties, and in 2024, the county found that the Worthwhile's rights were vested or grandfathered under the old zoning rules. This is important, and I bring it up because this means that Worthwhile can and will move forward in the portions of the county that were previously unzoned without the restrictions that the county has long desired. In fact, we have already begun some construction. However, Worthwhile has never been opposed to reasonable restrictions, and we are again at the table with Worth County trying to reach an agreement. This proposed settlement resolves our legal disputes. It would allow the full project to move forward, which our landowners very much want to see. And in exchange, it imposes significant setbacks, restrictions for shadow and noise, a limit to total number and height of the turbines, a commitment to trying to keep the red lights off at night as much as possible, and an offer of good neighbor agreements to non-participating residences within a half mile of the final turbine, along with protections for county infrastructure like roads and drainage. This project will provide stable income to farmers, benefit taxpayers, and bring good paying construction and long-term operations jobs into the community. Our landowners believe they have the right to farm the way that they see fit, whether that's crops, livestock, or hosting wind turbines. This project represents that right. Once again, I thank you for your time and urge the board to please approve the settlement agreement. We're available for any questions if anybody has any from the board or anyone else in attendance. Thanks for having us. Yep.
You want this? No. Ready? Carol, Abby.
Hi, my name is Carol Abbey. I'm a non-resident landowner, with approximately 32 tracts of land here in Worth County. I just want to go on record as saying, no, I am opposed to any type of settlement at this time. And that we should just let the courts take care of whatever action needs to happen. So I stand with AJ. And that is why I'm here tonight. I don't believe it's right to, as a landowner, to more or less sell out your whatever to property that maybe say adjoins an acreage that's been established for years and years, and put that, whatever you want to call it, in their view or their land, their space. And I think it detracts from the rural view of Iowa, northern Iowa, and to the county. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Craig, how did that?
I probably have more questions than comment, but if I'm reading the right agreement, the setback is a half a mile.
No, it would be 1,200 feet from a participating landowner's home. It would be 1,650 feet from a non-participating landowner in the previously unzoned portions of the county, which I believe are Silver Creek and Bristol, right? Yes. And then it
No.
would be,
Yes, there is no windmills in Bristol, right?
fair enough, but, and then in the zoned portions of the county, I believe it's 1,800 feet.
No, it's 2,000.
2,000, excuse me, 2,000 in the zone portions.
It's 1,650 if you're participating in the zoned areas and 2,000 in the zoned areas if you're a non-participant.
So the idea that you're treating everybody a little different.
That's, I
is a
thought,
very
yeah,
Bad idea. And,
good point.
I respect landowners' rights to decide what to do with their land. But I don't respect their rights to do what will affect my land. And, when you go down to, what was the shortest distance?
1,200 feet for participating landowners. So that they can't put it within 1,200 feet of their own homes. Everybody else is either 1,650 or 2,000.
I think the half mile is a good number. And I think that's what you should strive to get.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Craig. Julie Coates.
I gotta get up. Hi, I'm Julie Coots. I do own land in Worth County, Iowa. So I got 3 minutes here, people. I talk fast, but I can't talk that fast. I can't begin to cover what's addressed. I will touch on what concerns I can. Know that I'm happy to meet with anyone and share my data. I have the data. Property rights are not absolute. Jeff Gorball did address that very well. Why are we even here? Worth County has appealed the court's ruling. The appeal has not been satisfied. Is Invenergy concerned the ruling won't go their way? Do they want to get shovels in the ground to satisfy the significant construction required to get the tax credits? Monday, let's see, the proposed settlement was not posted until sometime yesterday on the 26th. It was then difficult to find. I did not get the proposed settlement until 4 p.m. yesterday, and I worked today. I just learned today that the maps attached to the settlement are incorrect. Has the Board of Supervisors reached out to any of the county boards, least of which would be the Planning and Zoning Commission? Solar has no place in this agreement. What do you not know about industrial solar? No property taxes are paid on the land. Instead, a replacement tax is paid. The tax goes to the state and they will distribute. How much will this replacement tax be? Is it based on how much energy is produced or how much is sold? The energy produced is expected to decrease over time. There will be no agricultural inputs on the land. Think of the multiplier effect this will have on the local economy. Look up the dockets on the IUC website for Worthwhile East, West, and West 2. Invenergy submitted permit application for Worth County. It is blank. Nothing is filled out. I have a copy of that here. Nothing was signed. Invenergy asked that the public meeting and the public hearing be waived, which it was. This does not show good community engagement. Under page 5, 4C, termination and restoration, Worthwhile Wind shall remove all facilities above 4 feet. Per recommendations of tile contractors, it should be at least 6 feet. Worthwhile says they will cite the project in such a way to minimize the potential interference with effective and useful operation of the emergency management tower. This is not acceptable. We are talking possible life-threatening consequences. Page 7, 3C, drainage infrastructure. The terminology is too vague. How long will the drainage repair be done? Sometimes problems are not immediately apparent. This is a huge issue. Page 7, 4C, the county stipulates that no further discretionary permits or approvals are required. Is this even legal? Page 8, this goes to where we have different setbacks for different people from where they live. Now, the participants, it says not less than 1,200 feet unless waiver is signed. And it says in there, all leases have waivers. So doesn't that mean then it could be 500 or 800 foot from their homes? We all know how that all worked in Freeborn County. So I got 15 seconds left. There's so much more. This 3-minute thing, we need more time. This is too big of a thing. This is generational decision. Yes. Thank you.
I believe it's Courtney Mortz.
Did I read? Not much.
I'm gonna talk really loud so that all of you can hear me back there, because I know it's a struggle. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. My name is Courtney Mortz and I reside in Heartland Township with my husband and 2 small children. I believe that above everyone else, you should be impacted by those opinions of us who live near the proposed sites that have no strings attached to this deal. I do not want windmills near my home. I moved out to my dream acreage 3 years ago for the peace. I know that may sound cliche, but it's the truth. Now you're telling me that I might have to see and listen to 6 windmills for the rest of my life. I definitely do not support this agreement that allows Invenergy to go against the zoning regulations that will directly impact my family. As the Board of Supervisors, you should do whatever you can to protect the well-being of Worth County. Invenergy may be here now, but as soon as the windmills are up, they will be gone and we will still be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Thompson. Mike.
I've resided in Silver Lake for 72 years. I've been within a mile either way of my house and where I live now for 52. What they're gonna do, and I'm gonna have shadows for what I understand. And I'm totally against what they're trying to do to us. I respect the landowners, whatever, but what they're gonna do to us, I just don't care for it. I'm against it.
Thanks, Mike. Dan Divebig, that's it. Dan?
Here. I'm Dan Divig. I live over in by Silver Lake. I have an aerial application business. I've been spraying for the last 10 years just about. I just heard about the wind turbines 6 months ago. Nobody ever thought it was necessary to contact me apparently. I've got 3 of them coming in my backyard. The business has been established. We all know how much money it costs to run an aerial application business. And I don't want to sound selfish like it's about me, because it's about everyone here. But the fact of the matter is the air pollution and having to fly between the things every night is going to limit the time that I can actually spray, because I got to come home at some point. And yeah, they're 1,600 feet or whatever it is, but until somebody jumps up and flies in between them and gets to enjoy it, I don't want to hear about it. And it's the same for farmers if you look at the people that are putting these turbines up, the average person, if you look at who owns the land, they don't want them next to their house, but they don't mind sticking them next to our houses because, it doesn't affect them. It's all about getting the dollars. And instead of being concerned about dollars, we need to be concerned about people's livelihoods, because people live around here and we've got to stare at these forever. My generation's going to be here for, well, who knows, when I crash a helicopter, but 30, 40 years, we got to stare at these things, listen to them, fly between them, and it's actual businesses, actual lives being affected by them. So it's just like caring about the people in the area. You wouldn't want a pig barn instead of next to your house. That's always been the biggest thing. Farmers don't want pig barns next to their property, and some jerk comes up and sticks one next to their property, and it's the end of the world. Well, it's the same thing. To me, a turbine is a pig barn. In fact, I'd rather have a pig barn next to my house. I don't want a wind turbine next to my house. So that's about all I got to say.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
Seth. I think it's Buchanan, Seth?
Really, I'm not living on, Iowa. I live right in the other side of the border in Minnesota. I dealt with Invenergy when Minnesota one came through. It's not pleasant. They are probably one of the worst companies as far as I'm concerned, putting up wind. And I would agree with Dan. You want to be a good neighbor. You don't want to do that to a neighbor. When they came through our area to put ours in, there was nothing but lies, cheating. What they had to do, they said or did whatever they had to do to get somebody to sign a contract, whether it was truthful or not. I would just don't let them just railroad it through. So like I said, I have no stake in it, but I also didn't get provided a meal and paid to be here either. So.
Thanks, Seth.
I don't think we got bigger.
It's Sterling is the first name.
Sterling Fennick.
Okay.
I bought a property on Apple Avenue. I'm on the Winnebago County side. I am building a home for my family. I would not be building that home right now if I had known the wind turbines were coming. It was not disclosed to me. The person that I bought the place from did know, and he did not disclose it. And I would not be building right now. I'm building a $500,000 house, and I'm gonna have turbines half a mile away or less.
Thank you. Yes. There we go. Okay, Steve Madsen.
Steve Madsen, property owner, Worth County resident. I appreciate you guys holding the hearing and inviting everybody here. I appreciate everybody's opinion on this. I guess I support property rights. I want everything to be legal. My hope is that, you guys can continue to come to the table and work something out that can work and bring needed revenue to our county.
Thanks, Dave. David Beaumont.
Listening in the back. Oh, my name is David Bulmer. I'm manager of community affairs for Invenergy based out of Pella, Iowa. I just wanted to add this list of businesses that signed the petition that went with what Isaac had put in there. I've been doing economic development in Iowa for 35 years. And been involved with a lot of different companies. Worked for Alliant for 15 years, and I worked for them because they were community minded. I took this job in March because they are community minded. We've given over $20,000 to different community groups, 4-H's, ambulance services, fire departments. This company cares and wants to be a corporate citizen. So whatever you hear, I can tell you that I put my stake and my personality and what we're doing, on this job, because it is corporate minded and community minded, and they're doing all that they can and have done. And we've got those businesses that added their signatures because they enjoyed what we're doing in the community as well. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Stu Loken.
I live in Heartland Township, and it is one of the townships that was previously zoned. I believe that this agreement takes away our rights because it takes away a public hearing and it takes away a permit process, which is required in Heartland Township right now. I feel that it is unlawful for the Board of Supervisors to make a deal that takes my rights away. They can't make a deal that gives me less rights than the zoning. I believe it is unlawful. To continue on some other items that are in the contract. Section 1E says, the movement of the turbine location will be least impactful to residents to the extent reasonably practical. Who decides what's reasonable? Section 3C refers to damage to drainage. How long after construction can such damage be claimed? It was pointed out in public comment for the wind ordinance that some damage might not be evident for a couple of years due to weather patterns. We farm another area. Those turbines have been up for, I think, 17 years, and we are still seeing damage to tiles and things popping up out of the ground that had gotten buried during the construction process. Two separate sections. The agreement intentionally discriminates against certain people in the county purely based on their location of their residents by subjecting them to lower protections for safety and shadow flicker, sections 5C and 5K. It is not appropriate and it may not be legal for supervisors to discriminate and subject some county citizens to lower protections simply based on their location. All citizens should be afforded the same greater protections. The provision of 5DI related to eagle nests should use the current eagle nest map that is maintained by the Iowa DNR, not some map created by some unknown date by a contractor who was hired by Worthwhile Wind. Using the Worthwhile Wind map is a clear conflict of interest. Section 5E, F, and G all provide distance restrictions to various types of roads and boundaries. Managing safety should be an equal affair, and each of these things being afforded safety distance restrictions should share the same maximum safety distance, currently stated as 1.5 times the total height. Section 5 purports to address sound consideration, but stops short of actually doing so, because it only states that the modeling should indicate such sound level. Sound levels. There are no provisions to require the actual sound to be below the stated threshold once installed, nor are there clear definitions to how the sound would be measured or complaints adjudicated. Section 5.1 discusses the cost of removal and salvage value, but stops short of specifying who will determine the removal costs or salvage value. This should be determined by a third party to eliminate any conflict of interest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Dylan.
Sorry about that earlier. It was hard to hear with one ear in and one ear out. My name is Dylan Granlich. I'm a member of the Laborers Union, the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 177. I work for our labor management arm of the Laborers Union. We have Chris Felice and Mike O'Brien. Mike O'Brien was actually a new retiree, used to work on windmill projects, so has some history with that. I just wanted to comment on behalf of our members who could not be here. We represent 3,000 members, mostly construction union in Iowa. A couple hundred of them live either in or around Worth County. And so we're asking the board to not impose an ordinance that would restrict economic development in construction projects such as these. If this passes, there is a very, very good chance that there is going to be hundreds, possibly hundreds of Iowa natives, people that live and work in, or not, live and work within your community that would be responsible for constructing these projects. We're the highest trained, the safest, skilled workers, that are in this workforce that do this project. So we're asking, for your consideration, and think about the people that, are actually gonna be working on this project when you make your consideration whether to move forward or not. Again, thank you. I appreciate your time, for letting us speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think she's, Sarah Bruce.
I'm not talking about products and things, these are more personal things. I am a cochlear implant wearer. That means I have magnetic chips in my head. It has been proven, there's 3 reputable articles that cochlear implants are directly affected by windmills. I'm also a retired realtor. And I would actually have people that would refuse to look at certain properties because there were windmills or there were cell towers. And it was because it triggers something, especially in the military personnel. I'm not really certain, but I also think we have had eagle nests across the road from us. I'm not seeing them this year. I did not walk down in there to find a nest. But I would think this would displace our eagles, and that's not a good thing. And I have to agree with someone else that my adult kids are gonna take over our property eventually. And they're gonna have to deal with the mess, and that's sad. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay, that's, I think, everybody. Like AJ said, we had some comments, pro and con. There's a few letters there virtually saying the same thing. I don't know if any sense in reading them right now. We'll look them over. We're not making any decisions tonight.
I got an email from somebody in Hartland, so I gave you guys copies.
Give me that one, yeah.
Mark, do you mind if I speak?
Or
Do you mind if I say something?
Yeah,
3 minutes.
quickly, Rick.
Hey, we got some, I'm Eric Eptigraph. I'm the attorney that represented the county in this lawsuit. And the question that we got asked previously was, why are we talking about this now? And the reason we're talking about this now is because there is the potential for a claim for damages against the county if we lose this appeal. And the problem with it is originally the plan was let the appeal play out, deal with the appeal one way or another. However, on July 4th, the big beautiful bill passed and it changed the timeframes for companies like Invenergy to build their wind turbines. They used to have till 2034 to build and get their construction tax credits. Now they may have only till 2029 or 2030 if they meet beginning of construction by July 4th, 2026. The issue with that is this claim for damages can be brought in a separate lawsuit. And right now, Invenergy doesn't have an incentive to sue the county for money damages because they believe that their project could still be built. The idea being is that you don't sue the county that's going to take care of the roads you need or the infrastructure you need. But if it comes to the point where they don't think they can get their tax credits and they can't build this project, all of their reasons for not bringing that lawsuit disappear. And they start bringing that particular lawsuit. In that circumstance, they could bring lawsuits or a lawsuit with potential damages of millions of dollars that the county would be responsible for. So the issue, the reason that we are talking about a settlement agreement tonight is that the door to have a development agreement with Invenergy may close whatever period of time that their construction timeframe runs out. And I don't know how long it takes to build a wind turbine company. I'm a lawyer, not an engineer, but that is my concern and the reason that we started discussing this particular circumstance. I mean, this is a project that at 164 megawatts will cost over $300 million to build. And there will be, in fact, profits that go with that. If it's just 10% of that number, that are $30 million in potential damages. I had a county send me an article today about somebody who had zoning ordinances that interfered with wineries in Michigan, and the town has a $49 million verdict against it. That particular circumstance leads to all sorts of catastrophic things for your county, which is why I'm sitting here negotiating this. I would love to litigate this to the end of time because I think we are absolutely right about the issue of whether or not you can challenge a moratorium for being passed in bad faith. I think that's just flat out wrong in the law. The places where we do have risk here have to do with the determination of whether or not there were substantial expenditures, particularly whether there were substantial expenditures in those parts of the county that aren't zoned. And that's the reason that there are different setbacks in those spots, because if we lose this appeal, the setbacks in Bristol and Silver Lake will be 0 feet. Not a
We know
single
about
one,
that.
because there's no zoning in those particular areas. So 1,650 feet is far better than even the 1,500 feet, which was the very beginning of my understanding where this came from. My understanding of the problem with Deer Creek is that there were promises to people that wind turbines would be more than 1,500 feet from their home. And those promises weren't kept by Titan after they took over the project. This agreement gets 1,650 feet for those homes because it has to be a compromise. It's better than what they would get if we lost. It's worse than what they would get if we won. I can't tell you for sure how the Iowa Supreme Court will handle this case. Jeff brought up a good point, and it's a point that I have worked very hard on, which is, can we settle this case under Iowa Code Chapter 335? 335 is a zoning ordinance, right? In particular, the Board of Supervisors can pass new zoning ordinances anytime they want. They also have broad powers to settle lawsuits. And part of that can be to settle a lawsuit about whether or not somebody's entitled to a permit or not. Right? If the Board of Adjustment grants a permit or denies a permit, because they know that's something that people talked about, there's a lawsuit that goes with that. There's an appeal that goes with that. And if that appeal is lost, it could subject the county to the same damages I'm talking about before. I believe that the supervisors have the power to settle that lawsuit before it's filed, especially before the time frame closes where we go from where the gloves are off and there's a claim for damages. I'm not here to try and make any decisions for the supervisors. I will support whatever decision they make in terms of this settlement agreement. I'm not here to speak in favor of it or speak against it. I just want you to all understand why we started negotiating it. It didn't have anything to do with, I know I'm accused of all sorts of things all the time, but I'm not in the pay of the wind companies, never received a check from them. I never will. I am a guy who's just trying to do his best to make sure that I protect the interests of your county. And I appreciate how hard the Board of Supervisors and Edis in particular worked to try and negotiate this, because it certainly is not easy to sit down and compare people's rights. People's property rights to build wind turbines versus people's property rights to be free from wind turbines versus the rights of people in the county to not have massive lawsuits bankrupt the organization. I mean, even if this was a $5 million verdict and you declared bankruptcy and the bankruptcy court gave you 10 years to pay it off, it's a $500,000 deduction from your county budget every year. That's probably 10 employees that you're letting go to pay that. That's the type of thing that you have to consider when you make a compromise settlement. And it's a compromise. Nobody likes compromising except apparently my wife, because she married me. But otherwise, that's really what we're working at. So that's why I wanted to come talk to you all about it. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has as well. But that is the thought process about why we're talking about it now, as opposed to letting the appeal play out. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We have one more here on Zoom, I guess, that wants to talk. He did sign in on Zoom, so
See if I can get him.
get him to, so we can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Hang on, Doug.
Yep.
Different volume up there.
You can hear him. Who is it?
Can you hear me?
And now,
That's what I
Doug,
got.
that's all we
This
got.
is- My name is Doug Kingland, and I'm a resident of Worth County. And what I've heard, first of all, I'm no against this fiasco. Listen to the two sides. The sides that are against this Invenergy and this billion-dollar company with their 2,800 employees worldwide, which is unbelievable. That's all they have. Is that they are for, those that are for it are for the money. Follow the money trail. Those that are against it are passionate because they live here, they work here, they've raised their children. I've spent 35 years of my time investing in my house and my acreage and my area, and I don't want to see that destroyed by not wind, not any flick or anything, but the sight of these 500-foot towers. What is it, from base to the tip? What a joke. So vote no, please. Save our county. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing?
You're not,
Okay,
sorry,
I just don't want to burn up.
chat with us afterwards. It's nothing else, nobody else has signed in, so I am gonna,
Anybody can talk.
can we?
Yeah.
I thought we needed to sign in.
Well, I mean, you.
I just said, he's talking about, it's just for the money.
You know, if you still don't realize that you need wind and solar to, keep you from burning up, can't you see what the difference in the climate has been? As a gardener, right? I've seen the difference in what the climate has done.
Thank you. Anybody else wanna?
I have 10 more seconds.
Yep.
If it's, I don't know how many people live in Worth County. Is it 5,000, 10,000?
70.
7,000?
Or something,
So what's,
43, something like that.
what's the lawsuit? 30 million or something like that? Is that the worst we can get? Or 3 million, whatever it is. I don't care. Whatever the part is I gotta pay to make this all go away, just figure it out. There's 10,000 people, it's $3 million lawsuit, that's $300. If it's a $30 million lawsuit, whatever the scare tactic is of numbers that we're throwing around here that they could sue us for. If you're gonna jack my taxes another $3,000 for 1 year, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. The fact of the matter is that I didn't find out about this until 6 months ago. And it is about the families in the area.
And I just want to bring, this is an actual thing, page 9G, it says the setbacks for non-participating property is 1.1 times the wind turbine blade length. That didn't make sense. Not the wind turbine height, 1.1 times the wind turbine
That's the
blade
setback
length.
from the property line. It's the swing rate. So there's a setback related to somebody's home. And then there's another setback related to the property line. So it's the swing distance.
So how long is the blade?
The blade depends on the model.
So say it's a 500-foot, give me the longest blade you got. How long is it? What about approximately? I'm not gonna hold you to it.
Sure, I would guess that the longest blade is probably 110 meters.
Okay, I gotta convert that into feet. I'm not.
It's about 3 feet per meter, 3.2.
It begs the question why different roads
Yeah,
and property lines have different safety distances from the same safety hazard. If the turbine is a safety hazard, and on the one hand, it's 1.5 times the total height of that safety hazard, for this road, it should be 1.5 times that safety hazard for that road and that road and that property line.
Are there differences for the roads?
Yes.
What are they?
One and 1.15 times the height on the county road. 1.5 times the height from federal highways.
Isn't that the same number? 1.5 and
No,
1.5?
1.15
Okay.
and 1.5. And then the property lines is 1.1, as she pointed out, 1.1 times the blade length. Well, the safety hazard is the turbine height, it's the total height. That's the safety hazard because of ice throw, fire. We've had turbine blades that have shattered in the wind, things of that nature. So if the safety hazard is the whole turbine, and we're using 1.5 times on one of the things, we should use 1.5 times on all of them. It's the same safety hazard.
I just wanna get some clarification, Eric. The Worth County Board of Supervisors, they're not hiring you, correct? You're hired by our insurance company,
I am appointed by ICAP, yes.
right? So you're looking out for the best interests of our insurance company.
I have not.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, that sounds like that to me.
Yeah.
So could you guys explain to me the decision that you're gonna make? What it's gonna be, what?
Too early.
Yeah, we don't know. There's lots of discussion, Rick.
No, but I mean, what are the choices? That you need?
Choice is to let it go on like it is being appealed and go to the Supreme Court of the state of Iowa. Or
Here, here.
do a development agreement,
We get the best we can.
unless you can think of another one.
No,
That's the only two
what
choices I can
options
see.
Really is.
Who's gonna pay for it?
The insurance company's paying for it.
A fair amount, but not 100%.
All but 15.
It just seems that, we get
15%.
we get
We pay
threatened,
for 15 and they pay for 85.
we get threatened if we don't do this, we get threatened if we don't do that.
I'd be happy.
Has anybody here that, live near a windmill that's already up?
Yeah,
And does it bother you?
it's horrible.
I live close to one. I don't now, but I did.
Do any of you remember Dr. Stephanie?
Seema?
Seema, I talked to her. She fought him too, till she wasn't able to. Talk to her personally. And she said for the people that are affected by it, she said, if you get car sickness, she said, you'll probably end up with infrasound sickness. And it's true. I've been going to Mayo Clinic now ever since they started spinning. I'm probably gonna have to move, and I've been out there since 1997, but I've gotta move. There's an ICD-10 code for the diagnosis of it, for the physicians to bill. So it is an actual verified ICD-10 code. Thank you.
Teresa, is there anybody out there that wants to talk?
Yeah, been there all.
Comment? Shaking their heads no.
Okay. Anything else on this? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
I will second it. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.